Good morning, students. Today we are going to do the revision of letter writing. As you all know that due to technical glitch, it was not happen properly earlier. So today we are going to do the revision of letter writing. A written or a printed communication directed to a person or organization, it is called a letter. Letter may be created and sent as you can say email or electronic transmissions, hand delivered transmissions, regular mail transmissions you can say. Now, why we are writing a letter? To thank someone who has been gracious, kind, or helpful to you. Or you can say when you need assistance or answers to help you make intelligent decisions. To respond to a letter or a letter request that you have recently received. Or to create a legal document that record information and support claims. Or you can say to show that you are a courteous, professional, and detail oriented person who is aware of etiquette. So for this kind of reason generally we are writing letters. Now whenever we are writing letter, what matters that letters should be truthful as they may become a permanent record of what you know, think or feel at the time you are writing the letter. Letters have come back to a human, you can say, haunt many people. So letter reflect the character and communication skill of the writer. So whenever we are writing letter, before writing a letter, this kind of exercise we need to do. First we need to do is we need to think, read, examine, identify. Here and again we have to think. First is whenever we are writing, we need to think that to whom we are writing letter. Then we need to read that a letter or I can say letters to which you need to want to respond, or read a written announcement or article motivating or requesting a letter response. When you are after reading, you need to go to examine the tone, for example language of the letter, announcement, or you can say other printed material to which you will respond. The tone of the motivating piece help you, you can say, determine the tone of your writing response. You can design it whether it will be a formal or it will be a informal. Now what is called formal, now what is called informal, that we will see afterwards. Now after examining, the next step is identifying. You need to identify your audience and purpose in order to determine the type of the letter you will write. Next is again the think. Now again you need to think and or you can say plan your response. Now there are two categories of you can say letter writing. First is business letter and another is personal letter. In business letter you can see it can be said that business letter are the part of you can say for formal writing, and the format write you can say format writing more formal writing that may share elements of the essay writing you can say, while in personal letters often informal may be addressed to a friend or familiar acquaintance about a personal subject, may regard a personal problem issue or even a personal business matters pertaining to one's personal finances or you can say personal legal matters. So these are the called business letter or you can say formal letter or informal letter. Now types of personal letters. Generally why we are writing personal letters? Personal means informal letters. Now you can see on your screen that we are writing personal letters to apologize, or you can say appreciation, you can say thank you for favor or kindness, to congratulate someone, or you can say to personal compliment compliment someone, invitation card, or you can say offering condolence, sympathy, or get well soon. You can say this type of messages, to convey this type of messages generally we are using personal letters. Now you can see the personal letter, where you can say whether typed or handwritten, it may include personal touch that reflect your style or personality. So this is the format of personal letter. You can even see the language, as well as you can see the sentence structure of the personal letter, or you can see the tone of the letter tone of the personal letter. Now, whenever we are writing letter, what we need to think is, first is we need to write as soon as possible after the incident happen. Uh, Second is apologize, but do not overboard by saying I am very 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 sorry. This type of phrases we need to avoid. Keep it simple and to the point. Summarize what you are apologizing for, and apologize only for the particular situation or problem. Be brief. Now, if you are apologizing cheerfully and sincerely, do not express feeling of guilt. Explain what you will do to correct the mistake or situation whenever you are writing apology later. And next is, do not put blame on another person, and do not blame problems on computer errors, or you can say carelessness. So these are the guidelines to write a personal apology letter. You can say writing letter for, you can say personal. Now if we see the appreciation or thank you, or you can say to show the gesture of kindness, for this when to write a personal thank you, congratulation, or appreciation letter, you can say to thank or show gratitude for gift, you can say group efforts, introduction to other people, invitation to speak, helpful advice or suggestions, or generally for we are also writing for personal favors, recommendation for position, or you can say award, references, sympathy, volunteers, you can say graduation. For this type of occasion, we generally personal letters of generally has been dealt. Now, whenever we are writing, you can say a personal, or you can say thank you letter. What we need to think, what we need to take care is, state what you appreciate and briefly explain why. Do not add other news or information, or not that are not related to the, you can say appreciative gesture. Again, be brief, warm and sincere. And generally in this kind of letter, 2 to 3 lines should be, you can say, will remain enough. Now you can say personal letter, and if where if at that time, whenever you are writing a thank you letter, you can say note card to someone who has recently helped you, or you can say we need to generally we write a you can say congratulatory letter, not to someone who has recently achieved an outstanding honor, or you can say generally we are writing letter when we want somebody to an event you will host. So that way generally this type of personal letters we letters are required. Now if we talk about business letters, or you can say formal letters. So, although each individual letter has a unique message, and the ultimate purpose of writing any formal letter is to sustain existing business relationships, so or to create and establish new business relationships. So therefore the formal letters are written for varied purpose. You can say, for example, to inform, to inquire, to request, to complain, to congratulate, or you can say to sell a product, service, or scheme, or to order something, or to collect dues, or you can say to make an adjustment, or you can say to apply for a job. So these are the purposes for where we are writing formal letters. Now if we talk about the formal letter, then now you can see on your screen then common types of business letter. For the first is acceptance letter. For example, legal documents when you require to write acceptance letter. Next is acknowledgement letter. Third one is adjustment letter. You need to adjust a legal document, address a complaint, or you can say or a claim. At the time you need to write adjustment letter. The fourth one is application letter. Generally this kind of, you can say, letter used to apply for a job consideration, or you can say interview. Next one is complaint letter. For example, any kind of legal document you need to file a complaint. Next is cover letter. Generally it used when you are designing a resume, or you can say order something. Inquiry letter, order letter, request letter, you can say refusal letter, response letter, and sales letter. You can see on your screen that the common types of business letter. We will see one by one in detail. Now to write any letter of business letter, any types of business letter, you what we need to take care is, first we need to identify our audience. Next is establish, we need to establish our objective, that why we are writing letter, and what is our objective. Third is determine your scope. It means that how much research information to include, which kind of information we need to include and which we need to exclude. Next is organize your letter. We need to organize our letter in a proper way. Then we need to draft a letter. Then after close and your letter, it means that properly we the letter should be enclosed. Now how to enclose the letter and how to begin the letter, again that we will see in our next slides. Then after review and revise our letter, it means we need to prove for physical problems and edit for logic issue. We need to read and reread. You can say letter before posting it, or you can say before sending to anyone. So these are the, you can say layouts. Semi, you can see on your screen semi block layout, modified block layout, and block layout. So now what is called layout, that I will tell you. You can see the you can say position alignment of the paragraph, as well as you can see the style and structure of the all these three boxes. And then you come to know that these are the different types of, you can say, styles. But generally, as per my point of view and according to me, you can say you can choose your own style from this. But from my point of view, this block style will be easier for you to write a letter, because you can see that here you no need to remember anything. You can start with, you can say, your left hand margin, so it will be easier to remember. First point. Second point is that as per the research and as per the present criteria, this style is very famous nowadays. And third point is that you can say it will be very easy to use. So generally as per my point of view, you can use block style. But if you wish, then you can use semi block style, modified block style. There are so many style here, so you can choose your own style. But whenever you are writing any of the style, you need to be particular with their style. You can see that here the ending line, it means the complementary clause. It is in, if you see semi block style, then you can start your address. First address starts with, you can say, right hand side, and ending complementary clause ends with right hand side. So this we need to remember. So that is why, instead of remembering, if you want to get free from all the kind of, you can say, all the kind of detailed information, detailed knowledge, then you can go with the block style. In semi block style and modified block style, the difference is that here in semi block style, whenever in the body of the letter we need to leave some kind of space to start any kind of paragraph, or you can say any kind of, to start any kind of point. Here in this modified block style, it is not like that. We not to leave any kind of space before starting any kind of, you can say, paragraph, or you can say point. So this is the difference between semi block and modified block style. But in block style, each and everything starts with left hand side margin. Now standard elements of, you can say, formal letter, you can see heading, dateline, inside address, subject, salutation, body, complementary clause, signature line, enclosure. CC notation, it means copy is sent to the other sender, or you can say type its initial. That now we will see it, all these elements in detail. Now these are the, you can say, additional element of the formal letter that also we will see. First one is address notation, attention line, subject line, reference initials, reference line, enclosures notation, copy notation, mailing notation, and postscripts. These are the additional information, you can say, elements. In some letter it may require, in some of the letter it may not require. So that's why these are the called additional elements, and these are called the, you can say, standard element generally that requires. That is why these are called the standard, or you can say essential elements of the formal letter, if we say in another word. Then now we will see if the structure in detail. Then first one is heading. So structure, if you talk about the structure first, then unlike the personal letter, here the informal letters have a distinct structure in layout. One needs to be familiar with only the different elements or parts of a letter, but also their positioning in the letter and the purpose for which they are included in the letter. The elements of formal letters are categorized into two parts. You can say standard element and additional elements that we have seen. Now we are going to start with the first standard elements of the formal letter, and the first one is the heading. In heading, heading are also known as the letterhead, which shows the, you can say, organization's name, full address, and telephone numbers. If a separate letterhead is not provided, the heading includes the sender's address. Now, whenever a letterhead paper is not used, the sender's address is either aligned with the left hand margin, or you can say few space away from the center, depending upon the layout of the letter. Now, if you see the deadline, then for that line, the component refers to the date on which the letter was written. It includes the date, month, and year. It can be represented in either of the, or you can say, either of month, year, or date, or you can say date, month, or year. But what we need to take care whenever we are writing deadline is that the date is generally it should be in a full form. For example, if today's date is 13th of April 2020, then we can't write 1 3 in a numbers and then dash or oblique by putting April in a for example, for example 13 for 2020. That way, this way is completely wrong way to write deadline. Whenever we are writing letter, or you can say at that time we need to take care about the deadline should be in a full form. It means that 13th April 2020. That way we need to write. You can write April 13 2020, or you can say 13th April 2020. It's your choice, but it should be in a full form. Next one is inside address. This part of the letter identifies the, you can say, recipient of the letter and is separate from the date by at least one blank line, and immediately following the address's name, title. Separated line should be contain the name of the company, or you can say the street address or post office box or number, or the city and the state or province with the proper postal code or zip code. When writing, you can say internationally, the addresses countries should follow in a capital letter and occupy the last line of the inside address. So this we need to take care that for example, if we are writing the letter to not in India but outside the India, then the address line should be in, you can say, capital letter. Next one is salutation. Salutation always try to address the letter to a person by name rather than by title. So if a specific name is not available, a salutation such as, you can say, you can write for example, a dear committee member, or you can say dear colleagues, or you can say if you don't know the person's name, or you don't know whosoever is that, then you can directly address to whom it may concern, or you can say, or if you are writing for a business, then you can say dear purchasing agent, or you can say dear Rahul Mehta, or you can say dear student to all sales representative, or dear sir or madam, the simple way. So that way you can start with salutation. So whenever always keep remember this thing that whenever we are writing a business letter, or you can say in this letter salutation, always try to address the letter to a person by name rather than by their title. So it will be a nice way if you address the person by their name instead of their title. And if the specific name is not given at that time, we are writing salutations like as I given examples like dear colleagues, to whom it may concern, dear students, or you can say dear committee member, or you can say to all cell representative, dear sir, madam, that way. Next one is the message, or you can say the body of the letter. This is the main content of the letter and usually occupies the maximum amount of space. It should single spaced with a blank line separating it from the, you can say, preceding and the following parts of the letter. It in addition, each paragraph of the message should also be separated by a blank line. The main text of the letter can be formatted to make it, you can say, convenient for the reader to gather information quickly and easily. However, while doing so, one must stick to the style of writing practice within the organizations. And next one is a complementary clause. This element is a single word or phrase, you can say, separated from the message by a blank line. Uh, you can use complementary clause like, for example, sincerely, cordially, truly, faithfully, or you can use like faithfully yours, cordially yours, truly yours, sincerely yours, or you can say yours sincerely, yours faithfully, yours obediently, yours truly. So here, whenever we are writing complimentary clause, generally what I find is, generally where we all generally student makes mistake is, when you are writing yours faithfully at the time, the you can say apostrophe s is not required. Here you need to write yours without apostrophe s, because apostrophe s is here yours is pronoun, we are using yours as a pronoun, so apostrophe is not required. So be careful whenever you are writing complementary clause. You can write yours faithfully or faithfully yours, whatever your choice is there. You can change the position. Cordially yours, you are yours cordially. Truly yours, or you can say yours truly. Sincerely yours, or you can say yours sincerely. But here apostrophe s will not come, because yours itself as a pronoun. Next one is signature block. This complementary closing line is, you can say, followed by the signature block, which include the writer's signature, name and title. Every letter must end with the signature to give authenticity to the, you can say, information contained in it. For example, whenever you are writing signature block at the time, generally it followed by, you can say, complementary clause. Sincerely yours, for example, then you need to put your signature, and after putting the signature, generally it followed by your name, or and with your position, or you can say post, and the you can say address line, it means from where you belong. So it will, that way it will contain, it will come. So these are the, you can say, standard elements of the formal letter. Now what is CC notation, and that I will tell you. Enclosure and sentence type is initial, as I told you. Now after this, now we will see additional information and additional elements of formal letters. Formal letters, yes, differ considerably from each other in their subject matter. The identifying information they need, such as address notation, attention line, subject line, or you can say reference line, and also the format they adopt. There are some other, you can say, element that may require as per the subject, or you can say as per the requirement of the letter. So first one is address notation. Here this notation generally appears a double space above the inside address in all capital letters. For example, you can say it's personal, or you can say it's confidential, please forward, or you can say through proper channel. This kind of, you can say, address notation you may have seen, or you can say you may have seen that confidential, that way. So this kind of notations are generally used in a letter that have restricted readership, or you can say that must be handled in a specific special way, and that is why the address notation is required when we need to deliver this letter to a specific reader, or you can say it should be delivered to us in a specific way. Next one is attention line. An attention line is used when the inside address does not include the name of an individual. It can be used to draw the attention of a particular person or a particular department in an organization, so as to enclose a quick and a prompt action in response to the letter. The attention line may be placed two space below the inside address. It generally given in bold as well as capital letter. For example, yeah, attention you can write in a bold, or you can say capital letter. For example, Dr. ABC, or you can say ABC product unit, or you can say Dr. ABC, the assistant professor of this in this university, or you can say attention, then column and personal manager. That way you that way attention lines are generally written in the letter. And what we need to think is that whenever we are writing attention line, again I am telling you is that it should be in a capital letter, or you can say in a bold letter. It generally used when we need to draw an attention of a particular person, or you can say particular department. Next one is subject line. This element lets the recipient know at a glance what the letter is about. It usually appear below the salutations. Now next one is, you can say, reference initial. Here often one person may, you can dictate to write the letter and another may produce it. Generally it happens in a big firm that generally one person is writing the letter and one person is dictating the letter. On such occasions reference initials are included to show who helped prepare the letter. Reference initials, you can appear two space below the last line of the signature block, so it comes at the end of the letter. If only the department's name appear in the signature block, both writers and helpers initials should appear usually. And one of the, you can say, one of the if one of the example I can give, then for example ABC oblique RSK, or for example if I take my initial then VDM oblique the another person's initial who has drafted the letter. So it this this thing, what it shows, that it shows that whenever we are writing this kind of initial, it shows that one has, you can say, dictate the content of the letter and another has written the content of the letter. So that is why if you want to clarify this thing, that at that time this kind of reference initials used in letter writing. Yeah, I have seen the message of Besania Meet that. Ma'am, please send the PDF. Definitely I will share the PDF, don't worry. Now if we see another next point is that, then copy notation is there. Yeah, after the, you can say, the reference initials, sorry, before copy notations, the reference line is there. So first we will say reference line. Formal letters often carry a reference line which is used for, you can say, sequential correspondence with the recipient. The reference line consists of an, you can say, alphanumerical reference number which, you can say, uniquely identify the letter. It usually followed by the, you can say, date and the letter. For example, you can say reference, and you can say your letter name, and then you can say the in capital letter, or you can say it's a combination of capital letters and date, or you can say numbers, digits. It's a combination of all this thing. Reference line. So it generally we write reference line to carry a reference, or you can say, yeah, to keep a record, or you can say keep a track, so that it will be easily we can find the conversation of our previous letter. Next one is enclosure notation. This notations appears at the bottom of the letter, one of the two line you can see below the reference initials. For example, you can say some common forms if you see, then for example enclosures. Generally enclosures is generally it is a part of you can say additional element. But generally if you are writing letters like for example order letter, if you are drafting an order letter, say for example, then at that time if you are placing an order, say for example if you are placing an order for you can say 100 desktop, so 100 pc, so at that time whenever you are placing an order, at that time you need to be clear if previous in previous conversation if it was you can say decided that you have to pay some kind of amount, or you can say certain kind of amount, like for example 40% 50% in advance, then whenever you are placing an order, at that time you need to attach something. For example, you can attach a check, or you can say demand draft, or you can say order form, or you can say if you are doing inquiry for certain kind of products, and somebody has inquired about your product, and you need to give you need to reply them at that time. Enclosures generally use you need to when you are as at that time if you are replying to this to this inquiry letter, then it's sometimes you need to attach the brochure, or you can say catalog of the of your products. So at this portion will come under the part of enclosure notation. Or you can say if you are writing any resume, then you need to, for example if you are applying for job, yes, the most important thing is at that time, if you want to attach some document, or you can say the some of the copies of your certificates, then it will come under the category of enclosure notation. And generally enclosure notation comes under the you can say come one, or you can say two line below the reference initial. Next one is copy notation. As I told you that we will see, this is an optional component again. It indicates who is receiving a courtesy copy, it means CC. Some companies indicate copies you can say made on photograph, or you can say they simply copy. See, this part follows you can say reference initial, or you can say enclosure notation. Generally it happens in mail even, that you have seen this option in mail, CC and BCC. But in letter, if some companies you can say require this kind of option, then you have to write CC, the name of the person, then PC, or you can say PC means photocopy. To photocopy means how this letter has been sent to another person. The person of the name of the person should be there to whom you have sent the same copy. Now next is mailing notation. This is placed either at the bottom of the letter after the reference initials or enclosure notations, or at the top of the letter above the inside address on the left hand side. For example, you have to write by registered post, by courier, by speed post. That way, this is called mailing notation. But for your exam point of view, right now, this will not require. But in for future, for your job point of view, for your career point of view, that it will be important to learn this thing, that mailing notations generally it comes either at the bottom of the letter after the reference initial or enclosure notation, or at the top of the letter above the inside address on the left hand side. And generally, for example, the mailing notation means that you may have seen this kind of mailing notations, like by courier, by speed post, by registered post, that way. Next one is postscript. Letter may also, I can say, bear postscripts. That means afterthought to the letter, to the message that require emphasis or personal notes. A postscript is usually the last item on any letter, may be prepared, for example, PS, or you can say directly, you can write in a capital letter or nothing at all. For example, please instruct your office to give prior information in the case of not supplying water on a particular day. So generally postscripts, you can see that it means that it the message that requires emphasize, or you can say personal note. Generally we are writing postscript when we want to emphasize something, or when we want to you can say draw the attention of someone, or you can say draw the attention of the reader. At the time postscripts are generally used. Now these are the, you can say, additional elements of the formal letters. Now you have seen the layout of, you can say, layout of. Now again you see the layout. Now you come to know that how address line and, you can say, complementary clause, and how it differs, you can say, with each one. Because suitable and the correct layout, you can say, enhances the overall effectiveness of any letter, and the layout helps to arrange all the elements of a business letter in an organized manner. So in generally these are the, you can say, major layouts are commonly used. Now you can see some kind of examples here. So you can see the layout. There are some another examples you can see on your screen. This you can read this letter. Whenever you are observing this kind of letter, what you need to do is you need to read the language first, and the structure, and the body of the letter, that how the information has been put forward. We will see one by one types of the letter. If I get time, then I will tell you each and every types of the letter. For example, inquiry letter, reply to inquiry letter, order letter, complaint letter, adjustment letter, or you can say permission letter, request letter, that we will see, that we will do revision. Now these are the types of the letter. You can see first one is credit letters. Here in credit letters, there are three categories, subcategories. One is request for credit, second is status inquiries, third is reply to status inquiries. Now the second is collection letters, third one is inquiry letter. Again, in inquiry letter, again there are three subcategories. One is solicited letters, second is unsolicited letters, and third one is letters of quotation. The fourth one is sales letter, fifth one is order placement letters, sixth one is claim or you can say complaint letter, seven is adjustment or you can say regret letters. So we will see each and every letter in detail one by one afterwards. If time permits me, then we will see. Now, after the types of the letter, now what you can see is on your screen is marks distribution in letter. So how the marks will be distributed as per your exam point of view, you can see for heading there will be a 1 mark. For that again there will be a half mark. Now for inside address there will be a 1 mark. For salutation, half marks. For the body of the letter there will be a 3 marks. For complementary clause, half mark. For structure or you can say signature block, half mark. So now total is, what will be the total? If the total is about 7 mark, if the letter will be asked for 7 mark, then that will be the ideal mark distribution in letter. But again, as I'm telling you, I want to clear this thing that it will be depend on the paper checker again, but this will be the ideal mark distribution in letter writing. If the letter will be asked for 7 marks, then this will be the distribution. So if you get less mark or if you get more mark, then it will depend on your structure, on your layout, as well as on your language, on your tone. There are some abbreviation you can see on your screen there. For example, ASAP, it means as soon as possible. CC, abbreviation, it means, as I think you know that abbreviation means a short form. But the point is that as language, as letter is the one of the most formal way, and it's a written document, and it will be kept as a proof. So that is why generally these are the standard abbreviation we can use, but we can't use our personal language as we are using in WhatsApp and FB and Insta. This type of language will not create you can say good impression in the mind of reader. But certain kind of you can say abbreviation we can use, and if it is written, if you are a receiver of the letter, then can, for this thing you should know that these are the full form of this kind of abbreviation. First one is ASAP, as soon as possible. Second is CC, it means carbon copy. When you send a copy of a letter or to more than one person, we use these abbreviations to let them know that we have sent the same copy to this ABC or this or that person. For this, for this reason we are using CC. Now ENC means enclosure. It's a short form of enclosure. Generally, when you include other papers with your letter, as we have seen at the time, we are using enclosure, but this is the short form. Instead of writing enclosure, the full spelling, we can write ENC or you can say ENCL. PP, it means per procuration. You can say a Latin phrase meaning that you are you can say signing the letter on somebody else's behalf if they are not there to sign it themselves. At that time we are using as a per, you can say a per procuration. This is the Latin phrase. So generally it used when a person is not present and on their behalf. When you are writing the letter, at the time you have to write as per this PP abbreviation. Now next one is PS, it means postscript. When we want to add something after you have finished and signed it. For example, it happens when you are writing a letter and at the time you miss some kind of information, and now letter has been drafted and has been signed. So at that time instead of cancelling or deleting the whole letter, if it is in a you can say email, you can say e-form, then it will not create any trouble. But if it is in a handwritten form, then it will create trouble to write and draft the whole letter again. So that at that time, ps, it means postscript, is there. At the ps, it will generally, it comes at the end. Under the postscript, or you can say ps, we can add some information. If the some if some important information has been left while drafting a letter. Now the PTO is very famous. Please turn over. It means that to make sure that the other person or knows the letter continues on the other side of the page. RSPP, it means please replay. So these are the some standard abbreviation. Apart from this standard abbreviation, if I want to say, then you can say, you may have seen that, for example, uh, free on rail, FOR, COD, cash on delivery, or FOR, it means free on rail. There are also some kind of, you can say, abbreviation that are generally used in business letters, or you can say formal letters. Now whenever you are writing a letter, the better, to make your letter better, first we can do is present your best self. Write in a clear conversational style. Be concise. Be consistent. Use jargons, you can say sparingly. Avoid, you can say, big words. Prefer the specific to the general. Break up your writing into short sections. Use visuals. Use the active voice, organization, and length. So these are the some kind of rules, you can say, that to write, to make our letter better. What we can do is, first it should be concise enough. It should be consistent. We have seen that we have to avoid big words. Generally, we need to use a common vocabulary, or you can say general vocabulary. And it should be, you can say, specific to the general. And we need to break up our writing into, you can say, short sections. If some visuals are required, as I told you, if somebody inquired about your product and you need to answer them, you need to reply them at that time. If visuals are required, for example, you need to show them the pictures. At that time, you need to show them, you need to attach some kind of, you can say, catalog, or you can say brochure of the product. So this required the visual, it will give, you can say, this visual effect will, you can say, uh, give more effect to your letter. Now if we talk about the length, then the letter should not, it is, first is, it is depend on the, you can say, type of the letter and the subject matter of the letter. Second thing is that generally, or you can say ideally, letter should not be look like essay writing, you can say. It should be in a 3 to 4 paragraph should be enough. Whenever you are writing a letter, 3 to 4 paragraph of the it means in the body of the letter, it will be sufficient. But if you require more, I can, if you want to put more information, then it's fine, but it should not look like the essay writing. So be specific with the length, and be specific with the content that you want to pass. Now these are the some exercise on letter writing, but before this exercise, we will see each and every these types of letter. But as you can see on your, you can say, clock, that the now time is going to end. So that is why we will see, if I get time, then we will do this thing our next session. We will do the revision of the same, I can say, of the same in our next session, if time permits us, then, because right now the time is going to end. So thank you all of you. And yeah, I have seen the John Frank that, ma'am, what is this BTN, block and semi block letters, which one is more formal? all these three types, as I told you. Okay, your question is semi and which one is more formal. Again, see, you have used some kind of short forms, or you can say abbreviation, that I don't know, it can, but I got it. You are asking that which one is more formal, then I can see. Just a second. If you see, all these three are, you can say, formal one. These are all there are more than these three styles, but these are the most famous styles that I am showing you on your screen. But right now in 21st century, generally block style is very famous. Apart from semi block and modified block style, so it is depend on your subject, as well as it depends on, you can say, the message what you want to pass. So it is up to the person. So it is the layout, you can say, depend on, you can say, the message you want to convey, or you can say it shows the overall effectiveness of the letter. So these are the generally, they are the common layouts, but there are all these three layouts are used for formal as well as informal style. Generally in informal there are no style, you can see, but for formal, because in informal, as I told you, there it is with the personal touch, but in formal you can use any one of the style as per your requirement. So I hope I have cleared your doubt, John Frank. I have cleared your doubt. If you have still more doubt, you can write it to me in my mail address, followed by vd.mehta @ marwadieducation.edu.in. You can write to a mail so I can help you better. So thank you all of you for this session. So if I get time, if time permits me, then we will seek the each and every type in detail in our next session. Thank you all of you.